Hey, Stanley.
You're muted, Lindsay.
You scared her, Paula. She ran
With that,
away.
I will be eternally in woe.
And go. Hey,
Mm,
Hola.
hey.
look at that. The teacher delivered upon a beam of sunlight.
Sorry about that.
It's great.
Yeah, no, good.
It's
We'll use
sort
this
of delightful.
can use this for Big Mix Nuts marketing. Good to see you, Geshe.
Nice to see you. Been a long time.
Yes, yes. Good to see everybody here. Welcome to Xuanzang's Tower. It's good to be back to our normal Rimrocky and worldwide selves. Um, and almost back to normal, but on our normal link coming to you on our Saturday morning. I think they just did their meditation in Rimrock, Arizona. And no big announcements. We're looking for a big and probably, I mean, a good and probably challenging class with Mr. Adam Andrade. How you doing, Adam?
They're pretty good. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Are you ready with a homework, sir?
Yes, let me get that screen share going.
He looks like
Any,
that famous actor, Nick. Who's that guy?
which who Adam looks like?
James
Not
James
Tom
Cagney.
Cruise, the other one.
Al
Uh,
Pacino back in 1976.
No,
Doc,
Panic in the
I'll
Doc
think
Davis.
of it. Okay.
John
Let's see.
Cena.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is this big enough here? Can you guys see that?
can you make it bigger?
Uh,
The one. Uh, that. Yeah. So, how does the phrase "Kangak Chikchar" reflect a test as to whether two things are in fact Zechig?
Oh, whether they start and stop together is a test of whether or not they're the same thing.
Yeah, you kind of hit it. I mean,
Whether they start and stop at the same time. Is that a better way to phrase it?
yeah, yeah. And I found some supporting. So I went and looked at the definition from the Seidura, and it's actually in the definition.
Ooh,
So I put that in there. Let's see.
Brad
Yes.
Pitt.
Oh my goodness. I'll
Okay.
take Humphrey Bogart.
There we go.
So if two things are Zechig, they are such that to be one is to be the other substantially. And the phrase King Gak Chikchar means to grow and stop as one thing. So if two things are such that to be one is to be the other substantially, then they should also grow and stop together. So you can take a coffee cup, and the property of being a functioning thing simultaneously comes into and goes out of existence, goes out of existence along with the coffee cup. Therefore, we can say that they are Zechig.
Hmm.
And so if we look at the data for guidance, we can find that growing together as a single thing is a defining characteristic of what it means to be Zechig. And the definition as supplied by the Seidura is given as follows. Uh, I just thought it was kind of interesting. Yeah, slow down.
Yeah, there's a request to
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah. Let me drink some more coffee as I decide to slow down.
But that usually helps.
That causes
Yeah.
more trouble later.
Uh, yeah, so I thought it was pretty interesting, and because we also saw this come up earlier with the definition of Chedrak as well. Or there, Kedrib Day was discussing what it means to be a member of a set or a characteristic of a quality, and I started to notice that there were some similarities, and he was essentially giving defining characteristics of those things, and you can find them in the Dura. Uh, uh,
It's also true.
Mm.
Yeah. So it to be one thing is to be the other. So being things that have grown and are not different things, essentially, is what we're looking at there in the definition.
Very educational.
What possible linguistic ambiguity arises when we encounter the phrase "dong zechik" in a text?
It makes it a one-way,
Yeah.
Zaychik.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and can you do you want to give me can somebody give me an example of well, here, never mind. We'll just go with this. We'll move on. I'm want to get to the positioning of the position of dong is key, as the Tibetan expression for single substance zechik is very close to the expression to be one is to be the other substantially, which is dong zechik.
Okay.
All right. So who has cartoon for me?
Oh, it's funny. We used to come across this a lot.
In the give
In
me a hint.
agreement?
Yeah.
Great.
I went with unanimous. But what about dakpa? Sorry.
Is it like answer?
It's another
No.
form of labeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was so what if I said what was it? What if I said pendo?
To benefit.
To help.
Yeah. Yeah, we found in the Great Dictionary that
Right.
listed as one of the possible
Tenses. Okay.
tenses.
Pendakpa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so try to hit my translation. Should I make it a little bigger?
I think it wouldn't hurt anybody.
Okay.
Ooh. Adam, can you read the Tibetan first?
Yes, sir. Be happy to. Let me. Okay. 写家确诊，所中经我破汤，所马中经我破你打 check the drill water tell.
Okay, let's consider all noble things. It might be a sarcastic statement. Then how would you read it?
Are you telling me that the two of working
Yeah.
things, like conscious effort and working? Yeah.
I think it is. Okay, but anyway, are you telling me that to be something produced by conscious effort and to be something produced without conscious effort are this? To be one of those is to be the other, right? Okay. Okay. And then the second sentence, Adam.
Are you down here at 439?
Yep.
Okay. Again, before we move on, just
Yeah.
I went and checked the Dura again to see how we
Okay.
were reading Zechig.
Okay.
I had been using what I found in your ACI translations.
Mhm.
And it was to be one is to be the other, is to be one is to automatically be the other. But
Yeah, I
then
like that.
but we hit this doc trick to drill. And I guess it's just to share a relationship such that the be one is to automatically be the other.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Yep.
I was trying to make it a little different. Anyways.
That's okay. Keep going. By the way, Adam, what's the most famous example of tsulju?
It was
It's gonna come up.
the clay pot, right?
What's gonna come up is the sound that you produce on a white
Oh,
shell horn
oh,
by
oh, yeah,
okay. It's gonna
yeah.
come up. Okay, it's gonna come up.
Is
It means something
should
produced with a conscious effort. Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Chudung garpo.
Yeah, now the sound of that you make after you eat a lot of beans, I don't know if that's conscious effort or not. But okay.
So John Gingopo, young mitapala dat to chick the drill. So Majung Gingopo, young mitapala dat to jack. Young mitapala dat to dak chick the drill. Drill way eacher.
Yeah, because changing things are one thing because conservative relationship is everyone is and but changing things are one things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the point is that both things that are made with conscious effort and things that are made without conscious effort are both automatically changing things, right? All
Yes.
all products of conscious effort are changing things, and all products that are, and again, you have to understand products, right? That are made without conscious effort, like the rain or something. Uh, both they are types of changing things. But does that make it the case that to be one is to be the other? You got it?
Mhm.
If both guys are members of one set and they are both members of the general set, does that mean to be one of them is to be the other one? Right.
Yeah.
And it's not true, right? To be to be made with conscious effort is to be made. And to be made without conscious effort is to be made. But that doesn't mean that to be made with conscious effort is to be made without conscious effort. You see, I mean, it's like saying a Toyota is not a Chevrolet just because a Toyota is a car and a Chevrolet is a car. Okay? Yeah. Okay.
Makiana, Pompa yang ngopo dan ze chick, Kawa yang ngopo dan ze chigna, Kabun ze chick gopa, gopa bu.
Yeah, so he had said if a coffee cup, if to be a coffee cup is to be a functioning thing, and to be a pillar is to be a functioning thing, then to be a coffee cup must be to be a pillar. And then we say, not necessarily the case. Just because to be a Toyota is to be a car, and to be a Chevrolet is to be a car, doesn't mean to be a Toyota is to be a Chevrolet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all. So "b" means yeah, yeah,
You would
yeah.
blow
That
your
would
fist.
blow. I like that. I like that translation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that translation. It's cute because
Um,
"b" means to blow a horn. Also, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
uh, just a quick question I forgot to ask as we passed it. I noticed that the reason here is separated out from this argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep it that
Because
way.
I'll tell you why. That's my rule when we have to insert an understood answer. So when we get to the final translation of this, we're going to have to add a cheat here between 438 and 439.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so probably there should be a 439, which is an understood cheat here.
Okay.
Why do you say that? And then 439 is going to become 440. So whenever there's an understood answer that we're going to supply in the final translation, I would split them. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't been doing that to this point for that I've noticed, which is why but yeah. Okay.
Then he's going
Duna.
to say ma kyao. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so later 440 will become 441 or something. And there'll be a understood, that's not necessarily so. Yeah.
Dana
By the way,
kabun.
it was his position earlier that if one thing was a subset of something and another thing was a subset of another of the same thing, then those two had to be subsets of each other or something like that. And then we just gave a different example to prove that they're not. Yeah.
So it was yeah, wasn't it? It was Balang, not Gore.
Basically, he was saying to be a Toyota is to be a Chevrolet. Because to be a Toyota is to be a car, and to be a Chevrolet is to be a car. That's all. He was stuck on that. Yeah.
No, I was trying to recall from the argument above where he was.
Oh, it was something about cups and pillars. Yeah. He said to be a pillar is to be a cup, because to be a cup is to be a functioning thing, and to be a pillar is to be a functioning thing. Since they're in the same group, they should be equivalent. Therefore, to be a pillar is to be a cup. He went like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Dana kabun zemichik pamba.
Yeah, if you agree that they're not, then your original position is blown. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Matsuna sojungi de drami tapar dupe tak che da chik to draw for dupa dangal.
Yeah. So we gotta, he's talking about components of a logical statement. And he's talking about the doc, and he's talking about the dupje, right? Doc che, right? Okay. And so he says, so we have to reconstruct the logical statement, okay? To understand 442, we have to reconstruct the logical statement. What was his churchen? Take
a white conch shell. It was
take a dungda. Sorry, the sound of a white conch shell. Okay. He said, take the sound of a white conch shell. Dungda churchen. Then what was the dupje chu? What did he want to prove about it? It is
produced by conscious effort.
no, it's mitakwa.
It's changing because it's produced
Because
by
it's silchum. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's the relationship between the quality to be proven and the reason in that logical statement? Is it true that to be produced by conscious effort means that it has to be impermanent, changing?
Yes.
Yeah. So to be produced by conscious effort is to be unchanging. But does it go both ways?
Mm-mm.
To be to be changing, does that necessarily mean it's produced by voluntary effort?
No.
No, right. So is to be one to be the other?
Only in one
In
direction.
one direction, yes.
Yeah, only in one direction. Yeah. Okay. Only in one direction. Okay. So he must have said to be one is to be the other, maybe without clarifying which direction. And then we're saying, Gal, your position is contradictory. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. 443.
Bumzen munsum churchen chi zen gilor tao bum pa hongwei lo yinbei cheer.
Yeah, this is the essence of the argument that's been going on in your book for a couple months, I think. Let's take what's Bumzin Lunsum. Let's take direct perception,
Which
which apprehends a coffee cup. Good. Are you saying that it's a state of mind? By the way, lore is short for low yin bar.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Fine,
Lore is short for low yin bar. Okay. The whole form here is Chin Zing Ki Lo Yin Ba Tao. Okay. Chin Zing Ki Lo Yin Ba Tao. All right. So the Lord Tao is short for Lo Yin Ba Tao. Okay. So let's take the direct perception of a coffee cup. Are you saying that it is a state of mind, lo, which is zimbaing a chi, Adam?
which is holding a mental image.
Yeah, a general category. Okay. Are you telling me it's a state of mind? By the way, is it holding Bumba?
Yes.
That's what it says here.
Now that's the trick, okay? Because when I say, is it holding Bumba, I could be saying, is it holding vases or coffee cups as a category? Or I could be saying, is it holding a coffee cup? Okay.
I mean,
So is it holding a coffee cup? Yes. Is it holding coffee cup? No, because its object is a changing thing. Okay.
But we don't know that from this context. I mean,
No,
from
you
this
don't
sentencing.
know. You don't know. But you can figure it out from who's right and who's wrong. Okay. Okay, so let's take the direct perception of a coffee cup. Are you saying it's holding coffee cup as a what do you call it?
Object of the mind. Oh,
No,
as a archetype or
archetype. As an
yeah.
archetype. Are you saying it's holding? And this is the huge question. This is the whole question of this whole section is how do you recognize a coffee cup as a coffee cup if to recognize it as a coffee cup would involve the perception of coffee cups?
mhm.
Because you can't hold to a functioning thing and a non-functioning thing at the same time. Therefore, how could you ever uh, ascertain that something was a car? Because you would have to see that it was part of the group called cars. And the group called cars is unchanging, but the thing you're looking at is changing. How can you have a simultaneous perception of a changing thing and an unchanging thing? And if you cannot, then how can you identify a car as a car? Okay. And that's the whole debate here. To identify the Rangsen, you have to identify the Chichen. But when you identify a Chichen, you're looking at something unchanging. And when you identify the Rangsen, you're looking at something changing. How can you look at something changing and something unchanging at the same time? That's the big question. That's what's going on here.
Can we say in
So-
this school? I'm sorry. Can we say
Go
in
ahead.
this school that we know that Bumba in this school must necessarily be the changing physical coffee cup by virtue of the fact that it's a direct perception?
I mean, technically, yes, but it's a valid question to ask him. When you look at a coffee cup, how do you know it's a coffee cup? Because to know it's a coffee cup, you'd have to put it in the category coffee cup, and the category is unchanging, and the coffee cup is changing. And that's the whole problem here. That's the whole like 5 pages of argument. So let's follow him. Let's take the direct perception of a coffee cup. Are you saying it's a perception of a category? And then he says, why do you say that? And we say, because it's seeing a coffee cup. It must be seeing the category coffee cup. And then he says, why do you say that? And we say, because it's seeing a coffee cup. How would he know it's a coffee cup? It could be a cow turd. You know, like, how do you know? Okay, got it.
Is he going to
Yeah.
resolve it? I wonder.
Well, this has been going on for pages and pages. I doubt that he's going to resolve it. Keep
Millennia.
going, Adam. 444.
Dana ngusu ba. Ngusu ni
Yeah.
ba.
You cannot say, when we said, oh, it must be seeing the category coffee cups, he can't agree to that because that would be an unchanging object, right? Uh, okay, so dunang musabu means that's easy. Like we all agree you can't say I agree. Okay, you cannot say I agree. Agree to what? You cannot agree that it's perceiving the category coffee cups. Okay, we all agree. Okay, if you said I agree to that, then you're crazy. Now, if you say just because it's now 445 says 445, can you read it, Adam?
Sure. Makyabna bumpa chi yimpam ba.
Yeah. If you say it does perceive a coffee cup, but that doesn't mean it perceives the category coffee cup, then we say, well, then the category coffee cup cannot be coffee cup.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the category. Okay. I didn't say a coffee cup. Okay. I didn't, I'm emphasizing the identity coffee cup. Okay. Right. Just because what he just said was just because it sees a coffee cup doesn't mean it sees coffee cup. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matrubna bumpa la drum juk gilo yimpam ba.
Yeah. If you say it's not seeing a coffee cup, okay. Madubna means if you agree to the reason which he was seeing a coffee cup, then it can't be a state of mind which is engaging in coffee cup in a positive way. Okay,
Okay.
in a positive way. Because when you see coffee cups, you have to be doing it in a negative way. You have
Yeah.
to be you have to be denying all which is not coffee cup. Okay, Nick, that's we had that in DCI somewhere. The
In order to
negate,
see an unchanging thing,
you have to cancel unchanging things.
oh,
Yeah. In order to find the lady with the train ticket, you have to, negate all the other people in the train station, something like that. Okay. Okay.
Bumpa bumpa
Okay. Yeah.
bumpa chi yimpa lam bum zen ngun sum gi bumpa tong na chi zen gi lo yimpe kab min gub mi guna ngopo chi yena bum zen ngun sum gi ngopo tong na chi zen gi lo yinga pam ba do.
Okay. Now, what's Boomba Chi Yimba mean? You got to read it as the fact of, or Boomba as the category. Okay. Okay. Boomba Chi Yimba means if we specify when we say coffee cup, we're talking about the identity or the category called coffee cups. Okay. Boomba Chi Yimba. Coffee cup as a identity, coffee cup as a set, okay, coffee cup as a category, okay. Does when you see a Bumba Munsum, right? What's that mean, Adam?
Directly, direct perception.
Yeah, when you look at a coffee cup directly, are you looking at a Bumba, which is a Chichen?
Now, are you looking at a coffee cup, which is an archetype?
Yeah, a category. What do you think? When you look at a particular coffee cup, are you looking at coffee cups as a category?
When we see it, I think we're experiencing directly. If we,
Yeah, good. I'd say you're not experiencing it as a,
as an archetype.
Yeah, you're not at that moment perceiving the archetype coffee cups, right? Okay. Mm. So what he says here is, when he's positing a general, he's positing a state of mind which is looking at a coffee cup and thinking it's part of coffee cups. Okay. Is that a possible state of mind? Can you look at a coffee cup and think of it as one of all coffee cups?
Yes, I think you'd have to say
Uh-huh.
that.
You could, but then you'd have some kind of side perception of all coffee cups, and that's an unchanging thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Okay. That's the problem. Then what you're about to say is, Geshe, just because I'm looking at a coffee cup and thinking that it belongs to coffee cups doesn't mean I'm perceiving coffee cups as an unchanging thing at that moment. That's what you feel like saying. I'll say it again. Geshe, when I look at a coffee cup and identify it as one of coffee cups, at that moment, I'm not perceiving coffee cups as a category, because then my mind would be seeing something changing and unchanging at the same time. So I'm aware that it's a coffee cup, but I'm kind of not directly perceiving the category called coffee cups when I'm looking at a coffee cup. Okay. That's where he wants to go. He says, Chinzinki lo yinbe macha. Doesn't have to be. Just because I look at a particular coffee cup and identify it as a coffee cup doesn't mean I'm perceiving coffee cups as an unchanging category at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's his answer. He said, you can look at a coffee cup and you can think that it's a coffee cup without having a direct perception of all coffee cups or the category of coffee cups, because that's contradictory. The human mind cannot hold a changing thing and an unchanging thing at the same time. And that's a pretty reasonable answer, right?
Yeah.
Then let's see where we go. Where do we go? Okay, let's say you say that, guna, mi guna. Okay, if you say that you can look at a coffee cup and you can identify it as a coffee cup without perceiving the unchanging identity coffee cup, then let's go to the second half of the sentence, Adam. Ngopo chi yana.
Bunzen ngusum gingo po tong na chi zengilo yim ngapambudo.
Yeah, if all changing things or all functioning things was a category, ngopo chi yana. Okay, if all changing things was a category, then when you held a coffee cup directly, okay, ngopo tongna, it would have to be a state of mind which was also aware of an unchanging category. But that position of yours is overthrown. Okay. He must have taken the position that when you look at a coffee cup, a particular coffee cup, you are also somehow, some part of your mind is perceiving the category called coffee cups. And we say, not possible. Buddha.
Well,
Cool.
Geshe, the something I've been thinking about. If okay, so whenever you have the sense perception of a coffee cup and go through the labeling process, that's one way of looking at it. We could also look at, I mean, from the way that I'm thinking about it is that going back to an earlier part of this book, we were talking about parts, and anytime you take things and group them together, it becomes a mental image as well. So it would seem that, like, if you have a coffee cup, it has parts, and to perceive a coffee cup, you're going to have to perceive its like left side, its right side, its handle, its color.
Yeah.
anytime that you perceive something that is more than one object, it's automatically a mental image.
It has,
Is
yeah,
that-
it seems like it has to be. And by the way, I mean, it's only Madhyamika. It's only the idea that things are coming from mental images that can resolve these questions. And that's why we're talking about it. The whole point is that the normal way you think about, you look at a coffee cup and you identify it as a coffee cup is impossible. Yeah. You can't hold in your mind an unchanging archetype and be looking at a changing, functioning thing at the same time. And so the only way to explain it is to say that they're both coming from seeds in your mind. You see what I mean? Yeah. That's why that's why we're studying Pramana. Yeah. Okay. Okay. 448, Adam. By the way, I'm pushing a little bit to get your material because I don't want to bog down. I don't want your text to bog down. We're basically in one idea for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I noticed.
by the way,
Yeah.
we usually resolve these things when we do the final translation. So completely. Okay, please read, or you want to have somebody read Adam and you check them?
We could do that. I was kind of having fun reading. Ula, are you translating, or would you mind helping us? You're translating, yeah. Cornelia? No. Pei? Would you mind helping us with 448?
Pei
Hi, Pei Ling.
Hi.
Zhang yang za jik na jik yin go ba do ba ni.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and this one so far is easy, okay? If two things are zechik, Adam, do they have to be chick?
Yes.
No. Chick means one and the same thing.
Oh, okay. So not
And-
not conceptually distinct.
Yeah, and so zechik means let's say this coffee cup here is zechik with coffee cups. To be this coffee cup is to be a coffee cup, right? But it doesn't mean that this cup is all coffee cups. Okay.
Oh,
They are zechik, but they're not chick.
yeah.
Okay. To be this coffee cup is to be a coffee cup, therefore zechik. But that doesn't mean that this coffee cup and the category of all coffee cups is the same thing, right?
Yeah, I got it confused. I
Yeah.
slipped up on my own homework question from earlier.
In fact, I think we can say that if things are zechik, they cannot be chick.
Right.
If two things can share a relationship, they cannot be the one and the same thing. It's not possible.
yeah, that was one of the things we learned in the Dura.
Yeah.
Is that in order to share a relationship, they have to be different.
Yeah, they have to be different things somehow. Okay, let's go to 449. Who's going to read for you, Adam? By the way, the more English notes you see I put in there, the more confused I was the first time I read it. Okay.
Pei Ling, would you do this again?
All right. Ra tăng lại mi ta pa so za jik ba nam. Rang jin gong som yi jik tu mi pe yi. Tang lo ma ru
Matrul way.
we jik tu mi na jik yin go pe yi yam ba jik group ye ki ta tu ba za mo
Semo, yeah, semo.
zemo. Dini lo ma group
Way.
we jik tu mi padang ta da tu ma mi wa ma ye pa yin te.
Yay.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you, Pei Ling. Thank you.
I try my best.
Yeah, okay. By the way, Adam, let's start with the end, okay? Because it'll be more helpful.
Okay.
Let's start with Dini Loma Trulwe, okay? So Dini Loma Trulwe, first of all, let's say that the state of mind is not mistaken. It's an accurate state of mind, okay? First of all, we're dealing with an accurate state of mind, okay?
Uh-huh.
When an accurate state of mind perceives that two things are chick,
Two things are the same thing. One.
yeah, one and the same thing. When an accurate state of mind perceives that two things are one and the same thing, does it necessarily see that they are not separate?
It's not the case.
Yeah, good. You can see that two things are one and the same without perceiving that they are not separate. That's two
Yeah.
different. Yeah. Perceiving that two things are one and the same is a positive thing. And perceiving that two things are not two different things is a negative state of mind. Okay. The conclusion is the same. To be one is to be the other. But the way that you arrive at it is by negating the opposite. It's not the case. Okay. Different. It's different to perceive a coffee cup as a coffee cup, and it's different to perceive a coffee cup as the opposite of all, which is not a coffee cup.
Yeah.
Okay. There are different ways of getting to the same thing, but they're not the same perception. Okay. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the beginning. Are Dra and Drai Mitakpa Zeiching?
Yes.
Is to be one, to be the other.
In a way relationship. Yeah.
Is to be sound, to be the impermanence of sound.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh no.
Oh no. Well, they're conceptually distinct, but to be sound is to be the changing nature of sound. I mean, right? I mean, I thought that was one of the things we had went through earlier in this text.
I think that to be sound is to be impermanent sound, but to be sound is not necessarily to be the fact that sound is impermanent, because the fact that sound is impermanent is unchanging. See what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of my homework questions. It's from last class was being conceptually distinct is enough to make something different. So if you have sound and you have the changing nature of sound, they're two separate things, right? Just because.
Yeah. So let's go to the third line here. Rang Zin Ngun Sum Ki, when you perceive a sound directly, okay, the sound of my voice right now, when you perceive the sound of my voice right now, are you also perceiving that the sound of my voice is changing?
No.
No, not necessarily. You can recognize my voice without reflecting that it's a changing thing, right?
Mhm.
But I don't think you can hear my voice unless my voice is changing.
Yeah.
Right. So on one level, you are perceiving a voice which is changing, but we cannot say that at the same moment you are perceiving my voice and the fact that my voice is changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, cool.
What was also to go back to the first homework question from today, was if sound, the moment that sound comes into existence, its changing nature comes into existence as well. And
that's true. But the fact that it's changing is unchanging.
Yeah.
And that I can't, the mind which is holding to the sound cannot at the same moment perceive an unchanging object.
Mm-hmm.
So you can perceive that sound is changing, but you cannot perceive at that moment the fact that sound is changing.
Yeah.
You can't conceptualize it. Okay. So here, Rangzeng Ngunsuki Chiktu Mikbei Chair, it's looking at both. On somehow, the perception of sound is also. And by the way, the way he's going to get out of this later on, he's going to say, and he's going to follow Pramanavartika, Ben, which we'll get to, sooner or later. He's going to say there's a difference between mikpa and ngepa.
Ascertain. Yeah.
Which
See and
Receiving it and ascertaining.
grok.
Yeah. So listen, when you listen to my voice, you're also listening to my voice as a changing thing, but you cannot be ascertaining that my voice is a changing thing. You cannot be isolating that fact and thinking about that at the same time that you hear my voice. You are looking at a changing thing, but you can't be thinking of it as belonging to the category of changing things at the same time. Okay? It's very interesting. You can mikpa, you can look at it, but you can't ngepa. You can't ascertain it. Okay? Because
Geshe
if you
Michael?
ascertained it, you'd be ascertaining a changing thing and an unchanging thing at the same moment. But you
Geshe
can,
Michael,
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Is there a like a logic or a demonstration for that? Like I've heard that, but is that sort of our axiom, or how do we establish that the mind can't perceive two things at the same time, or that the mind can't perceive a positive and a negative thing at the same time?
Yeah, I think we'd have to establish it, but I think it would feel to me contradictory to say that your mind is on a changing thing and perceiving it as changing, and at the same moment your mind is holding something which is not changing. I don't think your mind could do both at the same time. I think that's the point here. The point here is there's a contradiction between identifying a sound as a sound and and listening to sound at the same time. There's a contradiction because in one, the state of mind would have to be holding something that's not changing. And in the other, the state of mind would have to be holding something that's changing. When you hold something changing, you're necessarily holding two states, the way it was and the way it is. You see what I mean? So it's just saying that there's problems conceptually with the idea of identifying sound even as sound. You see?
I mean, ordinary experience seems that
Ordinary
way,
experience is contradictory. It's not possible.
Sure, right.
If things are not coming from us, they don't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's cool. Okay, let's go to the fourth line, Adam. Lo ma tu wei chuk tu mit na chi yin gobe chi. Lo ma trua means
My unmistaken state of mind.
yeah, good. An unmistaken state of mind, a correct state of mind. If it perceived sound and the fact of sound's impermanence at the same time, right? If it saw them as the same thing, they would have to be the same thing. Okay. Nyamba. Then let's keep going. Bashi dubcheki tartuk par se me. Bashik dubcheki tartuk par se. Chir nyamba bashi dubcheki tartuk se. Yeah, I admit that the ultimate way to establish something would be to say that your mind did perceive at the same time sound and the fact that the sound is impermanent. Okay. Ultimately, that would be the way to perceive that sound is impermanent. Yeah. You would have to focus on sound and you would have to have the recognition that it's impermanent. I admit that, but it's going to be difficult. Loma Trulwe, it's going to be difficult to decide whether that unmistaken state of mind is seeing one thing or seeing separate things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, it's perceiving the sound and the impermanence of sound as a single thing, and it is not perceiving them as separate things. But that's a different story. To perceive that they are the same and to perceive that they are not separate is two separate states of mind.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To perceive that the sound and its impermanence are one, and to perceive that sound and its impermanence are not separate is two different things.
Mhm.
Okay. And machepa, the last machepa means you are failing to distinguish between those two facts. I'll say them again. To perceive that sound and its impermanence are one, and to perceive that they are not separate are separate states of mind, and you have to chepa, you have to divide them, you have to keep them separate. Okay.
And Geshe, just to be clear, he is saying that the second of those is correct and the first of those is incorrect, right?
Uh, uh,
I mean, oh, sorry.
that's a good question, Nick. I don't know.
Hmm.
Are we correct to say they are
Not
that we are
separate.
not perceiving them separately? I'd say we cannot be perceiving them separately, right? That would be two different mental events or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
That you'd have to see them as one thing in order to see them.
Or
Yeah,
as
but
not.
that means your state of mind would have to be holding a changing thing and an unchanging thing at the same time. Maybe that's the whole point, is that it's a contradiction. Just the perception is a contradiction.
And he was using the word ngunsum a lot before, and maybe
Yeah.
he was trying to make the distinction between what you're seeing directly and what you're seeing indirectly or with deduction.
Yeah, yeah. It's a law. It's an axiom in pramana studies that all objects of deduction are unchanging.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we gotta stay away from deduction in this discussion. Yeah. Because we're trying to talk about a coffee cup which is changing. Yeah. So we can't talk about figuring it out. Anything you figure out, you're dealing with unchanging mental images. Yeah.
But these are both true, though, right? I mean, the object being perceived by an unmistaken state of mind as a single thing is true. However, you could also perceive the same object as not being different, just
But
depending
I
on.
would say that when you say that you perceive that two things are not separate, you could argue that that's an act of deduction.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And then the object has to be unchanging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go to 450. Who's gonna read, Adam?
Let's see. Who's not translating? Venerable Suna, would you help us?
Happy to do so if you correct me.
By the way,
Raj,
thanks for a good time at Diamond Mountain, Sunamla.
thank you.
I hope you had a couple of days off.
Oh, we put in the Diamond Way retreaters yesterday. Days off
Oh, good.
next week.
Hopefully they'll shut up for 1 month and you can take a rest.
Yes, that's my hope as well.
But usually they have some kind of problem. Okay.
Drachin Nyanshe Kitra Dangra Ni Takpa Ta De Duma Mikpa Yinchi Shiktu Mikpa Ma Yinno.
Nice. Johnson Nyenshe. What's Nyenshe, Adam?
It's the like a auditory consciousness.
Good.
Like
Auditory consciousness, which holds to a sound. Okay. Your ear awareness, which holds to a sound. And so it's holding oh, hey, this is a sound. Okay. Your ear consciousness is saying, oh, this is a sound. And is it holding to a sound which is impermanent? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it distinguishing between those two facts, sound and the impermanence of sound?
No.
No, it cannot, because one is changing and one is unchanging. Tadedu mamik. It cannot focus on those two things at the same time. Is it focusing on sound which is changing?
Yes.
Is it saying to itself, hey, this is sound and this is the unchanging nature of sound?
No.
General. Yeah, it cannot. So it cannot perceive those two facts separately. Can it perceive them in one lump?
Yes.
He says no. Okay.
What's a lump?
Well,
What
it
like-
cannot when your ear hears a sound of music which is changing, it can perceive a sound which is changing, but it cannot separate out the unchangingness, sorry, the changingness and the sound. It's
Well,
listening to a sound which is changing, but it cannot at that moment conceptualize the fact of being changing.
How are you not perceiving them as a lump, though? I mean, or as like that the Dong Zai chick from earlier? I mean, isn't that it's kind of what we've been going with, right?
I don't know. Is it possible to lump together something which is changing and something which is unchanging and see that as one lump?
Again, this is what we were you just said earlier, that in the Pramanavartika that there's a distinction between mikpa and ngepa.
Yeah, good. Nobody said ngepa here yet.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that, and if that would, you could infer from that, though, that any object that you see, it's you're going through this process of mikpaing it, but if you were to focus on it and ascertain that, it would seem to me that the qualities that you are perceiving an object's qualities in a total factor. Anytime you perceive anything, like you're perceiving everything along with it.
But again, the whole argument here, the whole couple of pages, he's saying, how is it possible to know that sound is changing, which is a Buddhist principle, like it's the most basic principle of Buddhist logic? How is it possible to identify it in a category of changing things when that's an unchanging thing?
Yeah.
How is it possible for one state of mind to watch something which is changing instant by instant and at the same time hold something about it which is unchanging? How's that possible? Okay. Let's quickly do 451, Adam, and then we got to figure, then Grandpa's going to listen to you guys figure out why this is relevant to our human life. And by the way, it could have to do with how do you make judgments about people or something like that? You know, how is that even possible? Okay. Okay, here we go. Johnson Yenshiki. Please read. Have someone read, Adam. Oh, late. It's the last one, so you should read it, I think.
Okay. Johnson Yenshake Jatang Jai Mitap Tadu Tade Duma Mikpe Chick Du Mikgun Dradak Yadu Mikpartel. Hold on, that would Dradang Yud Dradak Yadu Mikpartel. Mikpartel. Dradak Medu. Hold on, is this Duma Dakme Dakme Duma Mikpe Chiro?
Yeah, it's not Duma, by the way. It's not many. It's as Dakme Mamikpa.
Yeah. Isn't it would be not perceived, right? Like
so let's go to the end here. Dad Dak Yud to Mikpa means to perceive that sound is what?
It's selfless.
Has its own nature. Does have its own nature. Okay.
Oh, sorry. The other, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it would have a self, like a self of sound. Yeah.
Yeah, there would be a self nature to sound. Because you now listen, if you don't perceive that sound has no nature of being itself, does that mean you perceive that sound does have a nature of its own? If you
No.
don't perceive that sound does not have a nature of its own, have you necessarily perceived that sound does have a nature of its own?
That's pretty cute.
No.
No, you haven't. Yeah, I'll say it again. If you don't perceive that sound does not have a self nature, have you perceived that sound does have a self nature?
Mm-mm.
And we say no, it's not this, it's not the case, okay? It's a different thing to perceive that sound has its self nature and to not be aware that it doesn't not have a self nature. Those are two different things. Okay.
It's kind of like a parallel way that he's trying to really push that perceiving something as being one thing is not the same as perceiving it as being different.
Failing to perceive that something is not something is not the same as perceiving that it is something.
Something. Yeah. Like
Okay,
what was
that's all. Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
yeah object it would be a single okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, failing to perceive that something has no self is not equivalent to perceiving that it does have a self.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, to failing to perceive that sound and its impermanence are separate. Okay. Failing to perceive that sound and its impermanence are separate doesn't mean that you perceive that they are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Failing to perceive that sound and its impermanence are separate doesn't necessarily imply that you have perceived that they are the same. Maybe you just didn't think about it. See what I mean? Failing to perceive that sound and its changing quality are separate doesn't mean that you are necessarily thinking that sound and its changingness are the same thing. Okay, got it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Failing to see that two things are separate doesn't imply necessarily that you have perceived that they are the same.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Okay,
Yeah.
Grandpa's gonna take a break. I'm gonna sit here and listen to you guys attempt to relate this to human life. And then Adam, you're gonna do 452, 453, and 454 for next time.
Okay.
All right. So I'm just gonna shut up. And then at 9:15 we're gonna find out what's going on in the whole world.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Adam, it's your microphone.
I got the plane. Okay. Yeah, so let's flounder together as we try to figure some way to apply this to everyday life. You know, I think Gen gave us a good starting point, which is that, you know, if we're perceiving a person, right? If we're perceiving somebody that we label as being let's say annoying, you know, or somebody that's being difficult in our life, is it the case that we could be perceiving hey, let's go with this. Does anybody have any ideas? Does anybody want to contribute anything before I take the floor? And does anybody have anything they want to say before I go on a long spiel?
Adam, the first thing I thought of with what you just said is when I'm having an argument with somebody and I start by saying, you know, you're always like that. You always do that.
Always.
And the person's, yeah, and And the person says, well, that's completely out of context, Tim. What I did here is not what I did a week ago. And I'm like, no, but you're always like that. And then and then the argument's up. There's nowhere to go. Right.
Yeah.
What I was thinking is just, when things are one and the same, like this moment is the same as the last time you did this, as the last time you did this, then there's no openness or place for discussion or change.
Yeah. That was one of the first things I learned as a parent. When you go read these different parenting methods, they say that you should you should refrain from saying that your child always does this or that. That's a very poor way of addressing any negative behavior. So yeah, I would agree with you, even in the realm of parenting. Because the label, I mean, if you say something, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's great. I just jumping off of what Geshe Michael was saying and what I felt like you were leading into, Adam, and I guess I want to talk about it just so I don't lose it.
Yeah.
That in a sense, when you're thinking about the way someone is, when you're thinking any truth about a person, that we're implying you're not seeing them. That if there's a changing person before you, that any truth, any conclusion you come to with the person before you is maybe contradictory to being present, aware of the person before you. Like I think about this a lot in terms of just listening to people, just hearing people, and like not trying not to just plan in my head the next thing I'm going to say when that person is trying to tell me something. And I have this theory, okay, that is I'm open to challenge on, but it may be that what people want from us more than our cockamamie advice, which maybe they shouldn't listen to anyway, is just our presence, is just our awareness. Like sometimes people want to be heard more than they want anything from us. And the moment we think about what we're going to say, or think about what they need, or think about, well, your problem is this, or we're not hearing a thing out of their mouth. Like we're not with them. We're not seeing the person before us at all.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think I think that's it's a very beautiful way of applying this too. Yeah, and on the flip side though, if there's somebody that we're having a difficult encounter with, is it the case that they're not being difficult? I mean, they are appearing that way, right? Maybe it's just that their we've misaligned their ultimate nature, or where they're truly coming from.
Yeah, maybe while I'm thinking about how difficult they are, it might have even been true then. But since I'm not watching the changing them anymore, maybe they're not difficult anymore, and I didn't notice because I'm busy thinking about when they were difficult a second ago.
Yeah.
It certainly seems like that would be a key to ending the difficulty quicker.
Yeah.
So not, to separate it in your mind. It's cool.
By the time I know if they're difficult, I don't know whether or not they're difficult anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's the momentary antidote. Something we went into last time was, how do we take something like this to the meditation cushion? So we specifically went into, I think the last Q&A that we were doing with my class was, and we were talking about how do you take something like the subtle impermanence of a coffee cup, right? Is that thing also bound up in the object? Or the subtle impermanence would be dang zhe che, right? And so is there a way that you can take these things onto the cushion? And there's probably something there. We talked about it for like 15 minutes last class, so I don't want to spend like the last Q&A. But
Adam,
Yeah.
Shanti has her hand up because she's being more polite than she needs to be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And
All right. Well, thanks. I just got back at midnight from Diamond Mountain where I was there for like over a month. And I will say that volunteering for a month at Diamond Mountain before, during, and after retreat is the most wicked breeding ground for karma and learning. There were so many relationships, some that had been previous, some that were brand new, volunteers coming in and leaving all the time. And I notice whenever I feel like I wake up one day and I'm like, the you always thing, something they did yesterday, I expect them to do today. And the karma is so quick there that they're no longer the same person the next morning after they've slept for a few hours. And if it's you always, then it's I always. I mean, really, the mirror is so clear, especially when you're going around clearing the dust and cleaning, literally cleaning at the same time as karmically cleaning your seeds. And so, it's just nothing is ever the same the next moment. They're not the same. And we had so many amazing experiences of people, projecting their own seeds onto each other and having to figure it out and work it out. And, with Sunam and Rocio and Katarina and all the people coming and going. The other thing that was amazing about being there is like, from volunteering and being there and really sinking in there, I feel like we're all equals. We really are all equals. And so you're like, oh, there's the big shot who teaches, on Zoom, hundreds of people. And it's like, no, they're the same. We're all the same. So anyway, it was I just got home at midnight and I got a good sleep and I'm in Florida now. But just thank you, everyone. And thank you, Geshe, for such a beautiful time.
Yeah. Mike, I see that Mike has his hand raised. Thank you, Shanti.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when we were talking about how just because we don't think that, a sound and impermanence go together, that when we're thinking of a sound, we're not necessarily thinking at the same time that it's impermanent. And I was thinking about a car alarm like going off, and it's like when that car alarm starts going off at 3 a.m., I'm sitting in my room and I'm like losing my mind, like this is never going to stop. Like you forget that like in like a minute or two or 25 minutes, like someone's going to shut the car alarm off, And I just kind of related that to just kind of like my noisy thoughts. And like when things are bothering me in my own mind, like they seem permanent. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel so jealous or I feel so angry. And like I don't want to feel like this because it's going to last forever. But then like if I can remember to contemplate something like this instead of just leaving myself stuck in it, if I can like think about like, oh, the car alarm goes off, like sounds end, like emotions end. As soon as I start getting into the like the pattern of thinking about things like this, it tends to like start loosening up my grip on the like emotional experience that I'm having. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Yeah, very beautiful. And Christina had a nice comment there. It sounds very applicable to if you haven't read. There's a small essay on the flavors of emptiness, and it's very beautiful. If you can find that somewhere, that'd be really cool to read.
I would like to say,
Please go.
I think the problem that we face almost same. It will repeat itself like a pattern. I mean, my case, I believe others also same. So sometimes we regret what we did to others, right? It's very normal. Like we out of control and do something that not so nice, and then we regret. So it's very normal. Until now, I have to take very aggressive step to improve myself. Like I have many times I review, and then I have to educate myself, tell my mind what's my brain. Oh, if if next time this thing happen, before this thing happen, what should I do? And I have to control my mind, and then
Yeah.
very aggressively, like many times educate myself, not to argue with people. Okay, and then things will improve. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to very aggressive wash my mind and then be very careful with my vows,
Yeah.
keeping the
Yeah.
vows, yes, even on action, works, and on thought also, if nobody see, nobody know what I think, I have to catch myself and really, really do with this, especially the thought part, nobody see and nobody know, but
Yeah.
no, keep very, very careful, keep the vows, the 10 wishes, 10 no wishes.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's helpful to have a plan on how to deal with
Yes,
things.
yes.
'Cause we know
It
that
is a
things are going
pattern.
wrong.
Not
Yeah.
so difficult because it is a pattern. Every time the problem is just repeat the same things with
Yeah.
different situation only.
That's very beautiful because you have to be first aware
Mm.
of the possible problem as it arises, and then you have to have a plan on how to deal with it. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that's a very pragmatic approach to any problem in our life.
Mm.
And you never know, Pei-Ling, you might think that you always get stuck on this pattern. You always have this hang up, but we are changing all the time and you're practicing and you might think, oh, when this person says this thing to me, I always blow it. I always get mad. I always say the wrong thing, but we're all changing quickly. And maybe today's the day that we say the right thing or keep our mouth shut.
Eh, eh,
I
thanks,
take
Ben.
reference on karma and emptiness. Just remember, I take
Today,
reference on karma and emptiness.
And I think we have time.
Yeah.
Tracy had her hand raised, and I want to make sure that she gets to chime in if she'd like.
I really enjoyed this class and this discussion. And for me, it got me thinking, I'm really focused on my 6 times book. And it's like when I write down, I want to do it as fast as I can. I just want to whip through it, And then all of a sudden today is the first time I had this spark of, whoa, pause. What perception? Do I have the right conceptualized idea? And who's the one looking at, like, how can I have this thought around what I'm going to write down and what's happening? So for me, moving forward, I'm definitely going to incorporate a little bit more spaciousness around writing in my 6 times and what's the state of mind while I'm writing.
That's very beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. I think, it's 17 after.
Yeah.
You want to push it
Gotta go to the news, I think.
Yeah, let's do Peachtree World News.
Thank you, Adam.
Oh, thank you guys. So blessed to all you guys as friends and to be here in attendance with you all. It's a very beautiful experience. Very high seeds I have for all you guys.
Say hi to my granddaughter.
I will again. Yeah. Thank you, Lama. It was a wonderful day.
And for those of you who are looking for that document, it's in the chat, and Ben Kramer shared it. So there's a link to a Dropbox folder that has that essay that Geshe Michael wrote, the short one.
Many flavors of the many flavors, if I could say that.
Yeah.
Or you can do the full online course in like 9 steps, which is one of the best things you'll ever listen to, I think.
Really beautiful.
Which I posted a link to above. Take it away, Juan. And then Dr. Word, for those of you who want to learn with Dr. Word.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much. Geshe-la, Adam, Nick, Ben, thank you for all the translators and all the audience who comes and spends some time every Saturday, every Monday here with us. Thank you so much for caring and giving the time to learn, become better versions of yourselves and putting that into the service of everyone. Thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. As Geshe Michael mentioned, we just have a wonderful time in Diamond Mountain. And it was so wonderful that people are getting to notice. They want to go, and spots for retreats are moving quickly. I was, requested to keep inviting you to register in advance, because if you want to go, the spots are moving quickly. So I want to share with you. Today I'm sharing my own screen. So here we go. Yes, go for it, because October 11th to the 20th is going to be the next event with Geshe Michael Roach there. And spots move fast. So I really recommend you, if you want to go, if you're interested to go, let's do it ahead of time. Me, myself, I may do it ahead of time. I'm learning to do things ahead of time, but that's why I also encourage you to do it. Okay, so as you may have heard, oh, sorry, what's going on? One sec. Oh yeah, great. Today we have a live Q&A with John Brady and Hector Marcel. It's gonna be in an hour and 30 more minutes, so you still have a chance to register for it. I think it's gonna be very interesting. John Brady, no need of presentation. Hector Marcel, also very famous teacher in New York. And I want to share something very cool that happened. John Brady, he just spent some time in Taiwan. He did a great, amazing event for the fundraising of ALL. And I have a special video I want to share with you. I'll share it here. It was very, very cool. Thank you, Gibson, and all your team, because you're doing wonderful job with your social media. I want to admire and congratulate your work. Here it is. Check it out. Oh, no, not this one. Sorry. One more. Here it is. No, wait. This one. Oh, yeah. Okay, ready.
We see you and not the video. Fine.
Really?
I see the video. I see the video.
Yeah, I see the video. I think it's okay. Fine.
So there you go. Thank you so much, John Brady. You're saving the world. Thank you so much. And everyone who made the event possible, congratulations. Also the social media, amazing. And for those of you who are interested to learn more with John Brady, he's planning an event on June. This one, it's a special event on the Heart Sutra. It's going to be 3 days, happening in Japan, very nearby Kyoto City, June 8 to June 10. So if you're interested, I talked with Sophie Tsao, and she told me there is also a chance to sign up online. If you cannot make it live, you could register online and be part of this event. So just a reminder, in a few more hours, we're going to have this Q&A with John Brady and Hector Marcel. And for those of you who are not very familiar with Hector, he's the organizers of the 3 Jules, the director of the 3 Jules in New York. They are organizing the Met Gala event on May the 2nd. And for that, we have also a little video I want you to check. For those of you who may not know what it is about, this is just a little taster of the Met Gala, and in short, I will be showing the QR code in case you want to go there. Check it out. Yeah, I have here very cool things about that event. Maybe one day I personally can attend, but my friends who have gone, I think they like it very much. A few friends are going. So yeah, if you want to go, I'll share here the QR code to get more information. Here is Met Gala. And whatever they fundraise from this event, then they use it for mostly scholarships for meditation teacher trainings, as far as I understand. So it's a great cause, having great fun by practicing this visualization, I will say, of ourselves becoming our highest self. And then whatever money we spend on it, it's going to go for meditation teacher training. So now you know a little bit of what John Brady and Hector Marcel are doing these days. So we encourage you again to go to the class on Q&A, which is happening in a few more moments. Okay, and next, as you know, Kyoto is a great place that is growing a lot. Many events are happening. We just mentioned about John Brady teaching in June, but also a Yoga Studies Institute is organizing an event there. Mei Chang is one of the main organizers. I had the great opportunity to meet her in person last month. She told me about this event. If you happen to be around, also it's around the same date, so June 9 to June 13. Teachers from YSI, Earl Burney and Benjamin Bridges, Lisa Lee are going to be there, Mei Chang. You still have a chance to catch the early bird prize. And later, we're going to be talking more in detail about this event. I had a nice time talking with Mei Chang. We have a pre-recorded interview that we will be sharing sometime soon. Also, what other things are happening in Japan in June? Tim Lowenhub is teaching course number 2, Steps on the Path, Protecting Your Seeds. I had the chance to be there for course number 1. It's an amazing experience. I think the group energy was very, very beautiful. It's like a very private and close group. You have the chance to be close to Tim. Then you have the chance to ask him personal questions. There, he cannot hide much because, it's a closed place. So if you want more direct transmission of this course from Team Lowenhub, this is a good chance for you to go. June 4th, 8th, 2024, coming up soon. And if you cannot make it in June, then we still encourage you to try to do it in December because Geshe Michael himself is going to be there teaching Steps on the Path retreat, December 2nd to December 7th, 2024. Many countries don't need a visa. I'm from Mexico and I don't need a visa to go to Japan. I just show up there and they say, okay, you're welcome. But just in case, check if your country needs a visa or not. So yeah, that's it for now. But before we leave, we want to also consider planning your trip to Mexico City because Geshe Michael will be teaching An Angel Defies the Devil, a 2-day event happening from July 26th to July 28th, Mexico City. It's a new attempt that the Mexican organizers are doing to expand the audience. They are now organizing an event in Mexico City. We hope it attracts a lot of new people and also, of course, the usual committed students who are traveling around the world in order to get a little bit of more wisdom. So there is a QR code for that. And finally, we would like to invite you to our next Peachtree World New event happening on Tuesday, May 14. The registration QR code is there. We're going to have a special celebration for our teachers and the teachings because United States and Mexico, for example, have the Teachers' Day happening on May. So we decided to take this month and celebrate and be very grateful for our teachers and the teachings we have in our lives. So that's all for today. We'll see you again on Monday if everything goes well. And we now go with Wordsmith for learning Tibetan language. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Juan. All right. Thank you so much, Juan, Adam, Geshe, all the teachers and presenters. And let us learn about the mind-only school and how to translate. Who would like to read this?